Thanks. Good morning to all of you. Very good morning to all of you. Once again, for taking some time today. And as Sir said, this is a very important topic. We will look at the back, and as we go at the last, we will see why this is important in present day's function. So the agenda for today is basically, first, we need to understand why we need cultural education. That is very, very important because in today's world, and what is lacking on cultural education, why we need it, we'll understand that. Then we'll understand what is culture. Then we'll understand what is in this education, what, like Sir said, what are the topics, what Maharishi has said. And we also need to look at it, how we miss this and where do we really miss this cultural education. How can we impart to the society this cultural education? This is very, very important. So we will look into that. So let me just get on to my presentation. Just give me a minute. So the need for cultural education starts with, Maharishi puts this way, let's start with, he talks about different pollution, natural, and air pollution, land. He has talked in depth. Maybe we'll see that one day, but today our idea is to go only through this cultural education. So if you look at this, thought pollution, he talks about a pollution. Yes, thought pollution. This is where he says, thoughts, we all know thoughts arise when the mind relates itself to the external events, objects in terms of volume, for time and distance. So when does thought arise? Is when you see something and you process that in the brain, and with your past experience from the genetic center which comes up, that is where the thoughts come. And they have those parameters, volume, force, time and distance. That's what we relate our thoughts. So now this thoughts, when it comes, thoughts also produce imprints which reflect as further thoughts, imprints and thoughts again and again in an endless cycle. This is the nature. That's what, if you look at it, we have seen in our classes, what happens is thoughts come, then we have action or words, and we have results, and these results become imprints. Now, where does, and these imprints are in the genetic center, again, that arises to the thoughts. So it's a cyclic. So it's like a catch-22 we call, it's a cyclic situation. So this is where the thoughts produce. So that is very important. If our thoughts have to be noble, if our thoughts have to be good, we need to always have good thoughts, because good thoughts will produce good imprints, and those good imprints will automatically produce good thoughts again and again because of this cyclic nature. So today what Swamiji says about thought pollution is, because these thoughts are not good, what happens around the world is we have negative imprints, which in course of time grades to calamities, natural calamities, and fighting. All these happens. So evil thought. This is what Swamiji says. Evil thoughts that contaminate the universal magnetism. Thoughts wave. We know that thought waves spread all parts of the universe. Even all our genetic center are all related. They are all related like our dish antennas. They are all very well related to one another, and also to this universal magnetism and all those things. So evil thoughts even pollute the mind of others. Swamiji has very clearly said, even we think something bad, it is in this universal magnetism, and the thought gives boost to a guy who wants to do a bad action. If somebody wants to do real bad, somebody wants to do a theft, or somebody wants to kill somebody, somebody wants to do something injury to somebody, what happens? He might be thinking only, say, 20% of his thoughts, but these bad thoughts in the universe goes and gives him what we call, boost to complete his activity, and the act becomes very bad. This is of the obvious in lot of our examples in our, even in the worst cruel crimes happened in our part of the world. When you ask the person who, I didn't know, I didn't know what I did. That's what all the criminals say, or all the people say, because at the nick of the moment, they do not know where do they get that much power to complete that wrong activity. So that is obvious, because these ill thoughts are there in the universe, which happens. So who puts these thoughts? Let's be very clear. It's we, mankind, right? Man spreads the weapon. Sir?
சார், ஒரு chat requestல உங்களுக்கு பாசிபிலிட்டி இருந்தா கேமராவை ஆன் பண்ண சொல்லி கேட்டிருக்காங்க. If possible, otherwise no worries.
I will do it in the last, sir.
Okay, fine. Carry on.
So man in the web of thoughts, man spreads the web, and it's our man. So how can we take this web pollution? Is it's basically we can have these thoughts very good. Do not have thought pollution. That is what Swamiji says. And then thoughts can change the world. We all know that noble thoughts can even change the world. Abdul Kalam. We've just put a picture of Abdul Kalam because he's the one who said, you all please imagine Kanavu Kanangal in Tamil. So imagine yourself, dream about what you want, because then only you will be able to achieve it. Even people today, psychologists very clearly say, whatever you want to do first is manifested in your thoughts. What gets manifested in your thoughts only happens. That is what you dream only happens. So, that is very important. But the thoughts has to be harmonious with nature, give no room for pain. So this is very, 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 very important. Do not give any room for pain. So your thoughts have to be noble. That is very, very important, so that we don't pollute this world. So now, how do we change these thoughts? So that is what it is very important, because we have a habit of handling certain things. So when an evil thought arises in the mind, both the thought and the action which can arise from it should be eliminated through suitable auto-suggestion. We all have auto-suggestions, we have introspection. That is what we do. Apart from this, this is what Swamiji goes with the today's topic. Why we need is, uh, noble thoughts are the only way. When something negative comes, we can do auto-suggestion, but that shouldn't be a habit. The habit should be to always have a noble thoughts. Because today, if you see, the thoughts are so nice, so very important. I think I have said this example many a times, that like my leg should not break. Is it a good thought or a bad thought? It is a bad thought. As per all the psychologists, it's a bad thought, because what happens in your mind is you imagine your leg is breaking, then you imagine the pain you will go through, then you say, my leg should not break. This is actually negative way of going things, because what registers in this universal field is your leg breaking first. So they're saying that kind of thought, that kind of habit you shouldn't have. And next time I can auto suggest I shouldn't have this. No, when you slowly, you should change yourself to always be good. If anything happens, just think all should be good. Like our auto suggestion is there, be good all times, Almighty be with me always, for good. Just be positive. That is the word, the positivity. Or people say be positive. That's because they don't want you to think negative. That is very, very important. So that is why we refine all our thoughts, and also we sublimate all our thoughts. So noble thoughts are only way. Now, how do we get this noble thoughts? Can I go to a shop, as Muthu sir always asks, can I go to a shop and give money and get it? Is it kilo? Is it sold in kilo? Is it sold in for an amount? What is it? That is where comes the topic of the day, cultural education. Before that, analysis of the thoughts we can do. How do the consequences of that we have introspection. Then comes the cultural education. Now, first we need to understand what is culture. What is culture? The definition is there, but we'll understand what is culture is. Something good happened, or based on our experience, our ancestors, based on their experience, if something is good, they passed on from generation to generation. That is called culture. If you look at it, everywhere we call Eastern culture, Indian culture, subcontinent culture, Western culture, we call a lot of cultures. If you look at it, they are nothing, but they are not written anywhere. If you look at it, okay, off late they are writing, but it is not written in any of the books saying that this is culture for this place. But it has been practiced for years and passed on from generation to generation, because by these habits and customs, we have seen that good happens. So even you do, right? When we do certain things, when we drive in certain way, or suppose there is a very traffic area, you know how to drive in that place. So that becomes your habit, and you see the fruits of it. Then you automatically pass on that knowledge to others. What happens? That becomes culture. So going by the definition, the noble ideas passed on through the generations, which forms the basis of certain habits and customs, is culture. So culture is very, 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 very important, because we all know the story. When the Britishers occupied India, they were trying very hard to break us. At one point of time, today declassified documents are easily available. One of the the generals from the East India Company, the British, clearly said, he has written very clearly, if we have to conquer this country, we need to break their culture. He has written this word. Today it has been declassified. So he clearly said, we need to break this culture if we have to rule them for years. And they started planning for it, breaking our culture. They changed our culture by implementing education system which is different from us, and that education system had nothing but education for communicating with others and to just earn a living. It didn't have culture. But previously our education system, the Gurukula Kalvi, in general it is Gurukula Kalvi, there is no universities, there was no schools, nothing. It was basically more of uh, what you call a cultural education was given, how a man should live, what all qualities he should have. Even those big kings used to send their children, princes, to away from them. They used to go and live in their master's home, help their master in their household activities, everything, learn everything, and come back as a very well cultured person. So that kind of system was broken by them, and that is why they said we need to break their culture. So we need to be deeply rooted to our culture. And the purpose Swamiji is saying we need cultural education is, in today's world, in today's education system, we lack this cultural education. So is that mean that we do not learn this? No, we do learn this, but not structuredly, not organized. Where do we learn from it? Is directly from our parents, from our family, friends, and our parents. That's it. And to a large extent, our friends. And this is the small group, and this is not structured, but it is learned on the way, on the go. It is like part and parcel of our life. We see our parents, we understand from them this is good and bad. Or we see our friends, or we see our relatives and understand what is good and bad. Or there were some teachers who took extra interest, apart from teaching, academics. They had extra knowledge, and or they spent extra time, and they had parted this culture to us, to understand or to teach us what is good and bad. This is nothing but, if we ask in very layman term, it is what is good and bad. That is culture. Now let's go in little depth. So the idea is, we need to, it is our importance, if we have to have a better future for our children, this cultural education has to be taught to them. It doesn't mean you start tomorrow, hey, come on, tomorrow onwards I'm going to teach you every Friday 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., 9 p.m. I'm going to teach you cultural education. Come, sit. And that way again, this cannot be taught also. This is not like that, where I can give you a book and you just do 1, 2, 3. It's part of your life. So let's understand what is cultural education, how is this, and let us also, as Sir said in the starting, let us also see, can I start including these cultural values within me, and automatically that will reflect in your family and to your kids. And maybe a couple of examples I will say how we can do to our children and family. So culture is a discipline imposed on the self in keeping with the needs and circumstances prevalent in the society. It is basically discipline imposed on yourself, either by society or from, mostly it is ourself. Like hardworking, a lot of people we know here, people say, oh, you're from this country, you're good for hardworking, and all these things they say, because it's come from our culture. So it is a discipline imposed on yourself, on ourself. And also it's also prevalent to the society also. That is what is called cultural education. Now let's do what are one by one. Let's see few, cultural education. Ahimsa, non-violence, not to harm any living being through thought, word, or deed. The best ahimsa example is Gandhiji, who using the non-violence got independence for India. While we have stories about other independence stories with bloodshed, even now happening, earlier also happened, but Mahatma Gandhi. The next good example after him was Nelson Mandela of South Africa. These are two great examples where ahimsa was followed at any cost, not to harm any living being through thought, word, or deed at any cost. That is called ahimsa. We also can took up. There are certain times where you have to be very clear. You shouldn't harm anybody. Non-violence means is not hitting somebody. Again, not harming them through thought also and word also. That is very, very important. We can take this and see, during introspection or analysis of our thoughts, we can look at it. Who am I? Am I showing my body language? Am I showing saying some words so that I actually harm somebody's thoughts? So that you can prove. So being non-violence is very important. We generally harm people because of the four points stated here. Ego, because we always, I am more educated or I know better than you. Then we sometimes have hatred because the moment we say somebody's name, we just can't tolerate, right? That's called hatred. Then jealous, anger. These are the four reasons we harm others by thoughts or actions and words. So these are the four reasons we can get rid of them. Then again, going on with the same topic, it is the law of nature that every deed brings forth a suitable result. Our body and mind will ultimately suffer the consequence of evil we do to others. So if we do anything bad, automatically it gets imprinted and we get a consequence of the evil we get. We definitely will get. We also has to be important. If we don't get that pain, it's passed on to generations down. Then again, we can do meditation, not to hurt any living being, enduring our pain or misery stoically. So this can be done by doing meditation. So we are saying how not to harm others, get rid of those four bad activities. Then also you can do meditation to do this. Then comes the important word, honesty. Today's world, honesty is sometimes misunderstood. That is what my humble understanding. It is always telling the truth, avoiding all untruths. Our words should be truthful, courteous, and use of others. This is very, Mahatma Gandhi again was a definite for honesty. Sometimes honesty doesn't pay well. Sometimes you say honesty, being honest is not good, some days say, but you have to be honest. Many a times it's very important to be honest where there is damage to us. Many of us are not honest when it damage to us. That is very important. We are honest about others' problems, or when somebody, because you doing honest about a particular problem, if other gets a problem, you say, but when you are in trouble, if you are honest, that is where we actually avoid this, or we are not being honest. Once you become honest, you will find you do not want to fear anybody, because you are an open book, and the people will start believing you. If he has done a mistake, he will openly say to you. I do practice this many a times, and even in my office or personal life or even classes, anything I go and say, sorry, this is wrong, I should not have done it, I'll correct it. Because next time you are also there, and you also gain and trust from the others, saying that, no, this guy, if he does a mistake, he will be forthright, or he will be openly saying to me that I've done a mistake. Being honest definitely pays a lot as a person, as a personality. So this is what we need to cultivate it. Honesty is speaking the truth when it benefits the others. It is good to conceal the truth if it can do irreparable. So sometimes it is concealed too. Even they say, sometimes it is very good to conceal the truth. But like, for example, I'll give you a words example. You go to a patient who's in the deathbed or who's ill in the ICU. If the doctor feels he has to be honest to him, look, there is a 50% chance of transcendency, you will you will be live. There is 50% chance you will not make it. You know what happens? The patient will lose confidence. That confidence itself then it will become an irreparable damage to them. At that point of time, you have to conceal the truth. Even there might be 80% chance he may not come back, but the 20% hope, the doctor and the nurses have to give it to them so that he can come out of the danger. If the guy gets willpower, you can definitely come out. I just saw a couple of days in a TV about the COVID patient. One doctor is explaining in the TV saying that This particular person has, I know the doctor in the ICU explained it to the TB person. This person has very high willpower. He has his family and children's waiting outside, and it's his willpower is, I have seen one of the best willpower in my in the set of patients he was saying in the ICU of 56 patients. So that kind of will. So there, if he goes and says to him, look, clinically you have only 20% of chance by being alive. Imagine his plight there. So there are certain places we need to hide the truth. That is fine. So then again, straightforwardness. This is very, very important. Thoughts, words, and deeds should never be at variance with one another. Otherwise, it divides them. And being straightforward. But again, there is a caveat to it. You cannot be straightforward always. I'll give an example. I think I said this earlier also. When I was very young, in my first job, I used to go and sit in a meeting of 15 people where the factory manager I was like the officer, the smallest, or the 15 people, I was the junior most. And I used to sit, and sometimes I used to just say, even to my boss who was the manufacturing manager or anybody, I used to say, this is wrong, that is wrong. One day I was pulled out by my senior, the factory manager, and he said, Kumar, come here. So I said, normally if he calls people literally, you're so young, and if a factory manager calls, you go there. He said, Kumar, come, I like you. But the problem is you cannot be straightforward in a meeting of 15 people. So yes, and he gave an example. I work for ice cream factory, I've been saying this. So he said, it's like, it's a bitterness inside, but coat it with sugar outside. Just coat it with sugar. So that you are saying the truth, you're not hiding it, but you are saying in a way it doesn't hurt others, or it doesn't hurt his stature as a big manager in front of 15 people. So it's like, yes, you are giving the bitterness, but you're coating it with sugar, so it feels better. So sometimes we need to be careful, because that's the way, straightforwardness, but you should be able to say what you'd say. You have to coat it with little sugar. So that is very, very important in this paradigm. Then the important one is tolerance. We all have the Pormai Saligan group. I think English also you guys have in the group. A tolerance, how tolerant we accept everything and anything happened around you, enduring the evil words and deeds, not to retaliate. We normally retaliate. That's our animal instinct from inside, we retaliate, straight away retaliate. That is what we have this WhatsApp group, so that we start cultivating the habit of tolerance. The moment we not tolerate, we get strength. Because that is where, if we don't have tolerance, that is where we lose our temper and we automatically go into emotions. That is where we make mistakes. That is where, if we are not, that is where we make mistakes. So this is a very good quality that we should adhere to. And by doing meditation, introspection, and apart from that, many of you in this, I know that you are in the group, definitely this is a way to strengthen patience. Yeah, okay, you're saying patience. Patience and tolerance are, it's one and the same. Roughly, tolerant means you're tolerating it and being calm, not reacting to it. So that is what it is. It's very, very, very important for us, being tolerant. That means you accept everything what it happens. See, I always say that how can you accept anything and everything you happen? Only one way. Yes, I do not know. This result is part of some action which happened in birth. So if I go, see, we all accept something good happens to us, right? Do we say that, no, I don't want this money, I don't want this bonus, I don't want this happiness? Do we say that? No, we all accept it. We don't complain about it. But when we get pain, we complain about it. That is because when we have more understanding about cause and effect theory and everything, anything comes to me, it is because I deserve that only. I need to go through this pain so that I can get cleaned off of my sin imprints and reach God, reach divinity, end of this life. So it is very, very important. Then you will become tolerant. You will become tolerant. But sometimes don't be tolerant. Sometimes people are, I have seen people who are over tolerant. That means it is their duty to do something, but they just use this excuse. If it is my duty to earn for my family, if it is my duty to take care of my parents, if it is duty to take care of my children, there I should act, not keep quiet. So you need to be very careful in what line you take. Then self-discipline. I think when we are all self-disciplined, we need to observe all thoughts with awareness, put good thoughts to action, avoid or eliminate evil thoughts. Self-discipline paves the ways for success and growth. That's very, very important. Getting up on time. Important things. Self-discipline is going to a meeting on time. You do what you say. Suppose you're committed something, you should stand for it. That's very, very important, because that self-discipline only will give you success and growth. If you are not self-disciplined, it's very difficult. Then humility. Humility means, always understanding and keeping yourself low in the presence of parents, teachers, superiors, others. Don't be humility where you have to lead. Suppose I am in a department, I handle this project, I need to give guidance to the others or direction to others. If that is the stage I am there you cannot say, no, I am very humble, I will give respect, I will not. No, that is wrong. You need to be humility at places. You need to understand where we are, and certain places you need to have humility to gain respect. That also gives success in life. Now, harmony with others is a mark of humility. Humility in the presence of parents, teachers, superiors, and all elders is a desired quality. Okay. Then perseverance. It's again, this is very, very important. This is where I would say, we need to teach our children also this, definite goal. We need to have a goal, working with confidence and enthusiasm. And we might have failures. Again, failures is the stepping stone of success, right? So we need to be very careful whenever we have a failure. How do we redraw our goal? How do we replan to meet our goal? And again, with confidence. You might have a beautiful goal, but if you do not have confidence and enthusiasm, no way. Even somewhere I was hearing, even if you cook a small simple dish, you will make mistake. If you lose confidence, what will happen is you will make a tea or a coffee wrong, or a simple food wrong, or small 1 + 1 = 2, you'll make mistake because you lack confidence. So you need to have this perseverance, and we need to teach this to our children also, and not to beg, because we need to be self-sufficient. It is important to earn. It's like not to beg. I would say you can slightly change, not to depend on others. There are a lot of people, will not take interest of, my friend will take care of it, my parents will take care of it, my brother will take care of it. No, this is not good. You should earn your own livelihood and not dependent on others. That is very important. Then again, this is not to boast, is pretension. It is false. What is boasting is, you pretend which you don't have. So many a times when people will say, oh, I know this person, I know that person. Then when you really ask and go help after 6 months, you say that, you said that you know this doctor, can you help me? Sorry, now I don't know. So that is called boasting. This is this is called pretension. This is it is a false behavior. This is not desired, and we will not succeed in life if we have this quality. Then again, attached detachment. Detached, we call this non-attachment. Swamiji gives another word is detached attachment. Keeping on possessions to oneself, even at the cost of others' welfare, is undue attachment. You should keep the amount you have. So then if you don't want, you need to give it to others. It's called detached attachment or non-attachment. Then peace. We need to be in peace. Exercises for physical well-being, meditation for mental peace, and God realization for spiritual tranquility are very, very important. Then respecting others. Truth relation drives home the fact that all things should be respected. It leads to respecting our fellow men. Not only fellow men, you need to respect everybody top, and especially people below you also. That's very, very important, because everybody part of this integral world, this particular society, everybody contributed. So you need to respect everybody, right from the lower level to the higher level. Anybody, because they're all human beings, they have a part in playing it. You can monetarily, they might be less and low, but humanity wise, they are all the same. So see, one way respecting others I see is listening to others. Listening itself, if somebody says any point, just listen to them and acknowledge that you have listened to them. That itself is giving a great respect to others. Then mental strength. So by doing this meditation, we will be very strength, and we should not be wavering. There are some people who are very wavering. They will say one thing, after half an hour they will say entirely opposite of things. So don't be like that. Or if you see a food, you talk about everything, but when you see a very beautiful sweet you like, you keep on eating. That is where you're swayed away by sensory feelings. Then again, being selflessness is another great quality. It is taking into consideration the needs of others along with oneself. Even at sometimes, you have to take a loss because to help others, in monetary wise or time wise, even in your goals. Sometimes you have to, in the family situation or in an office situation, you may have to step back, or you have to lose your opportunity to push others, because it might be the need of the hour for them, or they are in need better than you. There are for two people for promotion. Or the classic example, I said, even some Dr. Daumani said in last week's class, couple of weeks class, when there was a bed, one 80-year-old guy said in the COVID bed, he said, "Doctor, I am anyway going to die. Give my COVID bed, give my bed to this 50-year-old guy who is still a lot of years to work." That is called selflessness, where he takes, I have lived myself, I have grandkids, another few years I'm going to live. If I die, I'm not losing anything. But if this person, 50-year-old guy, does, what happens? He has his children in school, he has not settled with his family. So that kind of consideration is called selflessness. We need to be at point of time sometimes to lose something of us to push others. Then see only God in everything. Because when we learn, when we understand God in everything, automatically we will not think somebody is high, somebody is low. You see God in everything around you. That is will bring you success in life. Certain examples, offering one seat to a deserving in a bus. Nowadays, I don't think our kids, at least in the Middle East, if we are there, how many of your kids travel in a bus in India? Very rare, because we are used to that. But offering one seat to the deserving, or even in the flight, for example, in the flight, you always like a window seat, or you like the window seat. Now one, you are there, you're traveling alone. Now one lady comes with this kid, and that kid asks the window seat. Now that's it. Many a times I have lost the window seat, to be very frank. I have lost the window seat not for 4 hours travel. I have traveled 20 hours travel, 12 hours flight. I have missed window seat sitting in the aisle. Uh, that is an example of being selflessness. Then talking sweetly to others, offering the correct amount as fare. Suppose you go to a place or a shop, now it's credit card, but I'm saying at some places, where you can be little proactive, so that making them comfortable. Then confidence. Again, this is like a sword with double edge. Never be overconfident, but be confident. Meditation and introspection will give us confidence. It provides clarity of thought and the courage to perform good deeds. Because when you are very clear in your thoughts, okay, this is the path I'm going. This might be the problems. If I get problem A, this is my solution. If I get problem B, this is the solution. That is where you will get confidence. If I'm going to a place, I should have multiple plans. That is where we get confidence. Then again, space management. This is for pollution control. Get rid of all unnecessary things. Keep the necessary things in tidy manner. Again, time management. It's very, very important. Many of people lack in this time management. Planning, preparing a list according to the priorities, then doing according to it. Time analysis, time management. Very, 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 very important for us. You might think, oh, what is there? No, still you have to write in a piece of paper, understand this time management. What time I get up, what I go to sleep in between, what time, how many time I read TV, how many time I watch WhatsApp. If you start looking at things, if you start writing your daily time management, you will find how much of your time you are not utilized. When you do an analysis, then you can slowly, in one day you cannot stop it, you can increase it. Okay, I will start watching uh, good videos or read a book, everything. So start doing that. Slowly you can do. Time management is very, very important if you want to come up in life or succeed in anywhere in life. If you say to your friend's home, I'm coming at 5 p.m., you should be there at 5 p.m. If you're in office, you're anywhere. We all don't go late to a flight, right? Because you know that you will lose money. That kind of thing should be there in everywhere. Time management is very important. Again, there are other slides on greatness of democracy, good governance. I will just skip. So we'll stop there. So these are the certain qualities Swamiji has clearly said about about cultural. Now the important part is, how do we impart? There's nowhere book, right? There's no book. I remember me studying in a convent in my up to grade 10, where we were had a moral science book. So we have to write the exam till 8th standard in CBSE schools, but they were marked, but they will not come in the progress card. Even if I get 0 mark also in the progress card, they'll give me my ranking. So, but still we were imparted. There were stories, nothing but these are all stories. There were stories nicely. We have lot of stories from our subcontinent. Lot of history we have, lot of beautiful stories we have. We can take it to our children, those stories. And also important is, how do we discuss our family issues with our children? Once at a certain age, you can discuss certain things, or you can give an example. I sometimes do with my daughter example. This is the case, or you just discuss things when they are around. They also understand, they observe better than you. So you know that you talk about an issue in your family, and you talk about a person who did wrong. They all understand it, and you need to give and ask them, do you understand this? What do you say? Just ask them, what do you say? You think that if you just ask them what do you say to an issue, you will understand your children's perspectives, how their mind is built. Then you can slowly correct this practical examples, what happening in your family, how do you conduct yourself. That is very, very important. That is what will happen to um, I still remember, imagine a grade 2 or grade 4 guy. He's only in grade 4. I'm talking about 15 years back. So he was asked, one day he was not given, his father asked him, he asked ice cream, his parents denied him ice cream. He said, suddenly, he was sitting and watching something. Suddenly, I was also there, my wife was there, we were there. He said, first thing when I get married, grade 4 guy, first thing when I get married, I will just, me and my wife will eat a lot of ice creams. So his mother asked, will you give it? No, no, I'm not going to stay with you guys. Me and my wife will go out and stay separate. Imagine a grade 4 guy getting this idea. Where is he getting? Because from you, from us. We not taking care of our parents. We are not living with them. Okay, we are not living with them because of reason we are abroad. But that can be compensated by calling them daily, or having video calls with them daily, or whenever you go there, spend more time with them. But that disconnect is there. The children, there's no book which has learned. Children are very clear, they learn from this. So we need to be very careful with our activities, with what we do, what we talk, what we think. Even our small body languages will know them, that you are liking it or you are not disliking it. So we need to be careful the way we conduct, so that the children pick up our cultural education or this noble thoughts from us. And also we need to stand, because there is no proper education. So we need to actually take time to our children to teach them this value of cultural education. Give examples from your own life, or take certain stories from our past. We have so many stories which are running around the world, and so many history we have. You can, with those examples, give them small by small. Like, it should be, this education is not the one you can sit them and do them. It has to be given slightly through part, like a practical knowledge to them, slow and steadily. And it has to be applied partly. It's a habit. If we do, definitely they will be better. First of all, we know, when I go through something, even there is a scope for us itself improvement on these particular topics. We first improve it as, and slowly impart these kind of habits to our children. Then only, our children will be in a very good state, and they will have a better life. Because this education they do not get in the schools, the current form of education setup. So we all will have a lot of interest in our culture, and it is our duty, because of the current education system, to give it to our children by our activities, and also taking extra effort to teach them. Thank you all. Be blessed by the divine.